How is everybody doing? Welcome back to the Trade Talks Live. It's day 2.
Day 2, we are here. Happy Friday, everybody. So glad it's Friday.
Happy Friday. Hope y'all are doing good. Rennie, I'm going to let you go ahead and cover what we're going to be talking about today and kind of go through things. I'm going to go get the piece of paper that's got our show notes.
Perfect.
And let you say hello to everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing wonderful in your trade today. Today's show rundown, we're going to be talking about some of the nation news. Will be skilled trade scholarships expanded nationwide, encouraging the next generation, maximizing profit margins on small jobs using practical strategies, top 5 common safety violations on the job sites and how to avoid some costly mistakes, some green building codes and their impact on construction, what all you tradespeople should know. Overcoming burnout in the trades, some practical advice for staying motivated. We all know that's hard to do sometimes. The importance of cross-training across the trades, the benefits of broadening skill sets. Very big one. How to transfer your licenses between states. Navigating reciprocity agreements.
And reciprocity agreements are great. That's something that Texas is getting really, really big into.
That's a good thing. Like, we were actually having that discussion yesterday, how we'd love for that to be kind of a nationwide thing. We'll also talk about some effective employee management for growing teams, best fleet management practices for small businesses.
For your vehicles, great stuff.
That's it. Today's social media spotlight will be about our plumbers of the influencers.
Kind of like those guys.
And then our questions at the end. Got a few questions from you.
So first of all, let's talk about skilled trade scholarships because, you know, the current regime is forgiving student debt for kids that went to college, but they're not doing anything for the trades. And I don't think that as tradespeople we would ever ask them to.
Nope.
Because, look, our education's worth it. I hate to say that, but I think it's true. And we've got some different organizations like Scholarship 360 is Uniball's skilled trade scholarship up to $2,200 for individuals pursuing trades such as welding, electrical work, plumbing, and more. And I tell people all the time, like, if you really want to get in the trades bad enough, you can find a way to do it. And this just makes it easier. And you've got a couple of more there. I know DeWalt Trade Scholarship is a good one.
DeWalt, it's $5,000, to students pursuing degrees or certifications in construction, industrial, motor, and the power sectors too. Hey, all those mechanics, that's trades, guys. Don't forget that, okay? And then also mechanics, it says again, and technology. Trades is building technology. We do all sorts of things, like we were talking yesterday about data centers, things like that. There's so much advancing, especially in 2025, guys.
And the cool thing about this is, we've been up to Collin College and gone up there for their plumbing trades training, which is freaking phenomenal. But when you walk out of that one and you go over into the other building where they're doing the mechanics and the paint and body, it looks like a state-of-the-art showroom. The floors are clean. The vehicles, everything is kept nice and neat. And it's just having stuff like that set up in a training center where it looks like a lot of these garages that you walk in. And I don't mean your neighborhood garage. I mean, going into the Lexus dealership or the Mercedes dealership and looking at their job, even the Harley shop. When I carry my bike in to have it worked on, and look, TikTok, Instagram, if y'all want to comment, love to hear from y'all. But you walk into the Harley shop and go in the back where they're working on the bikes, and man, it's like, look, these guys take pride in what they do each and every day. And things like that are just, it's neat. It's neat to see.
Yeah, like back walking job sites, it's one of the things that I've noticed whenever I started being a superintendent is you start to pick up on the guys that are the quickest, keep the cleanest areas. Because when you work in a clean space, you can really knock things out really quick because you don't have a lot of your tools in your way or other things that you're working with.
You're not tripping over other stuff. You know where everything is. It really is. It's good stuff. It keeps you busy. It keeps you going. And it makes it fun, to be honest. If you know where everything is, it's like the guys that have a tool bucket. And literally, I saw one of my plumbers do this one day, and I almost hate to admit it. He had a bucket full of fittings, and we're in a house, and you know how those buckets get. There's, and
I
I'm
know
like,
where this is
I'm
headed.
like, hey,
Yep.
have you got one of those? And he literally dumps it in the floor on their carpet, and I'm looking, I'm like, Brian, why did you do that? And he said, well, you need this fitting, and it's like, yeah, but look at this mess now. And I don't know how long it took him to clean it, but man, it wasn't good.
Think everything through. It's not good to create more work for yourself. I've done that. I've been there. You know, I think we all have. We all try to learn from those mistakes too.
And the cool thing is, you get a good scholarship, it makes it cheaper to learn.
Big time.
And guys, this is really what it's all about. Next, we're going to talk about maximizing profits on small jobs, maximizing your profit margins. And as a superintendent, I looked at the small jobs as much or harder than I looked at the big jobs. And the reason being, a big job, and what I mean by big jobs or big projects, big sections of it, if I'm running 50,000 feet of pipe, I've got a lot of hours in there. So you don't tend to watch those as much. You come by and watch and make sure everybody's got what they need and they're staying productive. It's the little projects, it's the little bitty ones that when you look at it, if you've got an hour to do something and they take 2 or 3 hours, that's going to kill you. And, maximizing those profits is literally, and I used to take a section, and one of the favorite jobs I ever did was Medical City Dallas Hospital, E-squared, the second emergency room. And literally, I would take a set of prints, circle out an area, and say, okay, this is a great area for people to work in. And I would draw up the material takeoff, get it all figured out, run MCAA labor against it. That way I knew exactly how long it is. Then I'd give people a list. Here's the materials you're going to be installing. The materials are already there. I had the yard dog pull it. The hangers are up there. The tools are up there. All you've got to do is roll your personal box up there. And it made it so good because you literally, I could put you in an area. And that's one thing about to maximize your margins. You need to be able to tell people, look, you're moving into this area. You've got 4 days for you and your apprentice to finish this. And really, I think y'all can get it done in 3. And if you do, I'll take y'all out to lunch. You do something like that, you can increase your hours on the job to where you can bank them and use them when you do have problems. But to me, stuff like that's big. What have you got?
Yeah. The efficient resource management, just like you were talking about, small jobs, like one of the things that I always paid attention to is every trip you make to that truck, try to grab multiple things. If you, oh man, I forgot 190. Okay, you're going to go out there and grab a 90, but look ahead real quick and figure out a few other things that you might be going out there later for, and just go ahead and grab them and bring them in. Because time's the most important part of a project. So anywhere that you can save time, you're doing better. Because as you were saying, you got 1 hour into the job, your guys take 2 or 3. Well, you just blew the labor out 200, 300%. Like, that's not a good thing. So thinking about those small things is huge. And then trying to be accurate on the job costing. Like materials, don't cut yourself short, but don't buy too many extras either. You don't want to have a buttload of extra material on the job because you finished up and it's like, oh, wait, I overspent on materials for this itty bitty job. Now, I know if you're doing small jobs, you typically have that material left over for another small job, which helps. But your van can only hold so much, or your truck.
And the reason we talk about stuff like this is all this affects your bottom line. And I remember, and y'all have heard me talk about going into a best practice group. And literally, I got into the best practice group. Now, I used to run big jobs. I mean, I remember Ronnie Schreiber told me one day, he said, look, you're one of like 5 superintendents I've got that I can put on $20 million projects. You see it, you understand it, and you look at it and you take care of it. But if you're not looking at the little jobs too, when I opened my residential company, I wasn't tracking every job. And whenever I went to the best practice group, they're like, look, if you're not tracking every job, you're either losing money, you're losing materials, or you're not efficient. And if you're not tracking it, you don't know it. So it really doesn't matter what size company it is. You need to track it and you need to make sure that you're doing things right. And that leads into safety. I remember sitting next to Mark Z
Yep.
at Brant, and we're in a safety meeting. They used to bring the foremen and superintendents in once a month. You had to come in for a safety update training where they just talked about numbers and what's good and what's bad and who did Ed take pictures of put in the video. But here's the deal. Literally, I remember sitting next to Mark one day and he made a comment about somebody fell and hurt their back. And he's literally sitting next to me. And I knew Mark for years. And he reached over and he kind of bumped me on the arm. He said, "Do you have any idea how much a back injury costs us?" He said, "I don't mean the insurance end. Do you have any idea what it cost us?" I'm like, man, I have no idea. He said, "It's at least $100,000. We have to write a check for $100,000 just to get through this." So guys, imagine what that could do. 10 injuries like that throughout the course of a year for a bigger company. That's $1 million.
Yeah. And like, you talk about that. Like, I worked at the largest, we worked at Brant, one of the largest MEP contractors in the state.
Now in the nation.
Now in the nation. Certain jobs, your safety rating has to be so good. You've got to have so minimal of incidents, even just minor cuts, like all those add up, but it affects your rating. And to get in some of those really good doors that you want to get your company into,
You need to maintain that.
you need to maintain your safety. And guys, it's very important.
So what are the top 5 safety violations?
Some of the top 5s for 2024: fall protection. Okay, that's
Slips, trips, and falls.
slips, trips, and falls. That's one of the number ones. Ladders. I lost a buddy last year. Ladder incident. He was on top cutting trees. Got done, went in. Wife was like, "Hey, what about that one?" So he threw the ladder out real quick, climbed up to the tippy top just to get that one real quick, slipped. But ladders, man, it's pay attention to what you're doing. Use the right ladder.
And I'm going to even go a step further. Pay attention all the way up and all the way down. I'll remember when I worked at TD a long time ago, I'd come down a ladder and I didn't look where I put my foot, and the electricians had stubbed some conduit up because they were looping it in the slab. And I kind of missed that last rung. I hit that piece of conduit and fell straight back. And guys, you're not going to believe that, but when I did, I slipped and fell like that, and a piece of conduit ripped my jeans right in the center of my crotch. Did not rip my underwear, but I sat there and prayed for about 5 minutes. God, thank you for letting me be alive.
Guarantee it. One of our big ones when I was superintendent is telling all my guys 360-degree awareness. I know that sounds just like such a broad blanket, but the longer you're in a trade, the more you understand. Know your escape if something's going to happen. Know where you're going to jump. Know where you're going to move if you're doing something big. But another big one is, the training requirements for those fall hazards. Because guess what? Not everybody knows you can die from a 4-foot fall. It is possible. You land right, you're gone. A lot of people don't know that. They've got to be trained. Train them, let them know that, because you walk out a step on a stoop and you fall off the porch, that could be the fall,
And training requirements too, and I'll let Randy jump back into it, but the training requirements, a lot of these big jobs, I remember at Parkland, you had to sit in safety training for like 2 days, I think.
Yes.
One day is just literally watching videos, finding out who's who on the job site, what's expected, where you check in, where you check out, where the muster points are. And it's just like, guys, we're just sitting in here for like 16 hours before I can ever go to the job. And they're like, yeah. And if you don't get that safety sticker on your hat, you don't go on the job. And literally, there's people walking around that there's a certain spot it goes on. And when you see them on everybody's hard hat, when you look up and see somebody without one, you're like, hey, where's your safety sticker? Yep. Oh, well, I didn't go through that. Well, then get off the job. And it's that quick. Go ahead.
And even if, like I was going to say, even if you have OSHA 30 already, it's great. A lot of jobs require it. Yeah. You still have to sit in their safety training also, because they just want to know that it is fresh for you stepping onto that job.
And the next big one is HAZCOM. Hazardous communications are huge. You've got to understand where your MSDS sheets are, how to use them, what they mean. But don't just wait till you have a problem. You literally want to understand what you should be doing before. You read that HAZCOM and it tells you, hey, you need this type gloves, you need this type respirator, you need these goggles or face shield or whatever. And if you do that before you use any of the equipment or any of the products or chemicals, you can save your life or somebody else's.
Yeah, SDS are great. Prevention, all your PPEs for any type of chemicals. I used to work in the industrial group. Holy cow, you deal with a lot of different things, but it's important, and you have to take your time to go through that HAZCOM and actually look through, read that SDS so that you know what you've got to have for your guys there.
Yeah, your MSDS is, I mean, it's your Bible when it comes to any chemical on the job. And me, I used to be the quality control manager, and literally anytime we brought a new product onto the job, I had to show the MSDS sheets on it, and is it LEED approved? And then the last one there is scaffolding.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been on big jobs where there's a scaffold person that has to check it and sign off on it every day.
Yes.
And you don't get on it until he does.
That just about every job site nowadays, I think, has gone to that. You have to have that one competent person. And the one thing they teach you in safety is you don't want to be that competent person.
Oh, yeah, because it's a whooping.
But when you actually are that competent person, go through, check everything, check every rung, actually do your inspections every day, because you don't know what happened on it the day before since your last inspection on that thing, because guys are up and down these things all day. And then if you're building your own, you know, some of these little Baker scaffolds, things like that, just pay attention.
Just as important.
That's it. It is just as important. I understand nobody has to inspect those because you're just doing a residential. Make sure all your pins are in. Try to be safe on them, guys, because scaffolding, it's one of the top 5s.
Now, next is green building codes. And, man, I'm going to rule this one. Those of y'all that don't know, my name's Roger Wakefield, Lead AP. And Lead AP is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. The AP is accredited professional. I've got a nationwide certification on green buildings. And I almost got sick taking the test. It's literally when I signed up for it and I went into Brad Rogers, said, hey, man, I want to become a Lead AP. He said, no, you don't. I said, no, I do. And he's a vice president of the company at the time. And I said, no, Brad, I do. He said, Roger, he said, it's not for plumbers. It's for architects and engineers. I said, well, okay. I said, look, this big job I'm on doing QC, I said, I'm responsible for all the lead stuff. I want to learn it, and I want to become a Lead AP. He said, Roger, I've got engineers that cannot pass this test. It's not that easy to do. I said, Brad, I'm going to pass this test. I said, I'll tell you what. You pay for me to take it the first time because he had to sign off on it. Your employer did. I said, you pay for me to take it the first time. If I fail, I'll pay the second time. He said, okay, you got a deal. So let me sign up. They send you the USGBC book. Is about this big. It's like a Bible. I don't remember how many sections are in it, but I opened it up. I felt like I was reading Russian. Nothing made sense. You've got to know about the roofs, the windows, the glazing, green fields, bus routes, public transportation. There's so much to learn. And I'm like, oh my God. And when it came up to my test, because as soon as you sign up, they schedule you a test date. When it came up to my test, I literally postponed it. Thank God. And I got to pick my date. So it was a Tuesday after, I think, Memorial Day or Labor Day. And literally, I took off the Thursday and Friday before. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I studied. Monday night, I found an online exam that said, this is really like the exam. Well, man, all these other exams I'd done, I was making 80, 85. I took this one and made a 40. And here it is, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm up studying. I go to bed, get up at 5 the next morning. And when I studied this, I looked at why did I put what I put and what was the right answer and why was it the right answer. I went in the next day, passed it, 2.5 hour exam. I made a 70.
Ooh.
But you know what you call a man who makes a 70?
Pass.
A Lead AP. Pretty freaking cool. But green building trades is great for energy efficiency, indoor environmental quality. So IAQ and IEQ are great, and material resource conservation. It literally looks at where did you get this material from? You ordered some wood, you ordered some furniture. Where was the wood taken from? Is it a green forest certification or something like that? So all kinds of cool stuff. And that's one, like, I'm not going to go into it a lot, but building green is good. And we talked about it yesterday about energy efficiency and why you want to offer that if you're a residential plumber or a residential HVAC or electrician, it can be huge. And before we move on to this next section, I just want to jump in here real quick and say hello to some people. Horrible Human SBG, how are you doing? Happy Friday to all. Looking forward to it. Miss Amber Mendoza in the house. It also says happy Friday. Davidas 125, what's up? How are you doing? Good to see you in here. So, and TikTok, Instagram, I want to say hello to you again real quick. If you've got any comments, anything you'd like to say, I cannot read all this. I promise. I wish that I could, because if I could, my eyes would be amazing. But if y'all want to, feel free to jump over onto YouTube. We are live on the Trade Talks and love to hear from y'all. Squirt, let's talk about burnout.
Burnout. I've had that feeling before.
Just once?
And probably more than once. Sometimes you'd have to drag up, but that's not the best way.
So what is dragging up?
Dragging up is whenever you just walk up to the boss and you go, I'm out of here, boss. And you walk off the job. That's a drag up. You load all your tools. You give no warning. It's typically not good, but burnout can push you to that state of mind. So,
and I normally run behind people like that with a little cylinder and say, hey, I got some red ass salve. just, if you've got the red ass, just rub this on it. Maybe it'll make it feel better.
But the key is to understand when you're starting to get burnout. And, a lot of things like fatigue, you're going to start just feeling more wore out, like you don't want to work, things like that. Irritability. My irritability raises the longer I'm on a job site, and then I have to back it in again and go, okay, hold on, wait. It's okay. It's my job. I'm here to do this, and I enjoy it. And decreased performance. Like, that's one of the first things that you're going to notice is I used to go in, bust ass 8 hours. I want to work 8 hours for 8 hours pay. That's my goal every day. And that's what I did. But at some points when burnout starts to increase, you notice your work is decreasing your productivity. And some of that's just from burnout because you're getting yourself wore out. And you've got to learn to address that.
And another thing about it too, things that help are a work-life balance. And I tell people, look, once you own a company, there is no work-life balance, not for a long time. You're at your customer's beck and call. And there's things that you can do to balance that out. But you've got to understand that, the job has to be done. It's going to get done. And if you're the only one, or you feel like you're the only one doing anything, it's rough to do. You need support and help from the people around you. You need to be able to take time off. And a lot of people love working overtime. And I used to tell Randy, look, when you get it, enjoy it. Put the money up. Don't just say, okay, look, I've got an extra $1,000 this week. I'm going to go blow it, unless there's something you need. Because there's going to be times too where maybe it rains, maybe there's a layoff, maybe the job shuts down for safety issues. You never know what's going to happen in this industry. So you've got to be able to look at it and say, look, I need to take some time off. I think one of the smartest things that I ever did when we did Great Wolf Lodge together, we did rotating 410s. And what that means is literally 1 week you work Monday through Thursday. Then you're off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. The next week, you work Tuesday through Friday, and then you're off Sunday, Monday, or Saturday, Sunday. Then you're back in on Monday. And I've got to tell you, a 4-day weekend away from work, a 4-day weekend to go out of town, it changes your perspective. It changes your attitude. It lets you get away long enough. And I don't mean, oh, wait, y'all got a problem? No, talk to me about it. Let me help you. What's the problem? It's hey, when you walk away, the phone, walk away. Yep. Get away from it. We are headed out Sunday to go down to the Dominican Republic for
YouTube training.
But you know what? We're still going to do this. We got to make sure I get the Skylink.
That's right. I heard it's on my list.
So we're working from the Dominican Republic. But here's the deal. We're literally going to be able to get away too, where they're talking about YouTube, where they're working on stuff, but it's to learn and grow. It's not just 100% vacation. But the good thing is these international retreats that we go to, they're normally 8 in the morning till 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then you're free in the evening. They may plan a dinner or a party or something like that, but
Or a
you've
cool
got
magician.
time, yeah. You've got time to get away. You've got time to relax. You've got time to have fun, and it's nice.
Yeah, like back whenever I was doing the new Parkland Hospital, all through my apprenticeship, I lived check to check, and that's all I ever did. I finally took a week off. First week ever, no pay, no nothing. But I finally just bit the bullet and said, you know what? I've got to do it. I came back with zero burnout feeling at all whatsoever, completely fresh and rejuvenated, just asking myself, why have I never done this yet? Because that 1 week away of not thinking about work, just like you said, especially in the field, because I worked a lot of overtime. I was good at what I did. Like he said, if it's offered, go ahead and take it. Enjoy it while you can get it. I did that all the time. Finally at Parkland, I was on this 40-hour job for 16 months, and I took a week off in the middle of all that to do it. And was so happy I did.
It's a good way to do it. Now, most companies have access to support services, so they provide mental health resources and counseling. If you need it, you need it. If you're coming home every day yelling at your wife and kids and kicking the dog and stuff like that, understand, look, something's not right. And it could be work. It could be the stress of work. It could be all that. So, look at it. Have a supportive work environment. Have a boss or a foreman that you can talk to. It's neat. A friend of mine made a post the other day about his wife and how proud he was because they went to a AA meeting that night. And his wife's, one of the employees that works under her was getting a chip for their birth. They call it their birthday for not drinking.
Yep.
And she wanted her boss to go. And she says, you're one of the most supportive people in my life. I'm like, man, that is so cool. And then implement regular mental health checkups or check-ins. Look at yourself and say, hey, how am I doing? And you know better than anybody else, but ask yourself, are you doing the job you're supposed to do? Are you getting where you don't want to go to work? You don't want to talk to people? Or you're just calling in sick? You're leaving early. And those are all signs like, hey, look, something's not right here. So anyway, stuff like that is a great thing to think of because you got to figure it out. And I know that we all don't want to do that, but sometimes you got to.
That's it.
Next, we're going to talk about MEP. Right? Or is this?
We want to thank League Pro for sponsoring today's show.
Man, how did I miss that one? League Pro, right here.
We support the trades every day. Like, that's what we're here to do. That's the major goal. We want to help each and one of you all in your journey. And Leak Pro is what helps us make it possible.
I think Leak Pro is probably the most advanced leak detection system that there is. It's the easiest to use. I know that I've had some of that old equipment. You strap it around your belt, then you've got a wire coming out of it going to the probe. You've got a wire coming out of it going to the headphones, and you've got all these wires, and you're walking through the house, and you're literally trying to hold everything together. You're touching stuff, and it's a pain. We literally have got a system that it's a set of headphones with a wire that goes to your probe, and it's a little bitty wire. And we actually upgraded it. It's a bigger wire than it was. But yeah, doing stuff like that, it invest in your company, grow your bottom line, invest in your people, and you do things like branching off and doing new things. And Leak Pro really does help make that very, very possible. Not too bad of a deal. All right. Cross training.
Cross training, man. The importance of cross training across trades. Guys, guess what? All tape measures will. Most tape measures read the same, except for standard and metric. That's why I backed up, because they're not all the same. But either way, both tapes are going to pull the same measurement, regardless of how you're looking at it. It's going to be the same. And guess what? Every trade is the same thing. We all measure. We measure different things. We measure different ways sometimes for different things, because all trades are slightly different. But it's important to learn the different things. Like I came up learning from plumbers because that's all my family is. But then I went into pipe fitting and I learned that I really knew a lot going into pipe fitting because of my plumbing background. Because pipe's pipe, guys. Yeah, it connects different. Yeah, it's different material types. It's different things like that. But it's all round. Well, I have done some square pipe before. That was really cool. But most of it's round and pipe's pipe. So that's a really easy one. But we all measure distances, heights, different things. Yes. So the list on here is it increases employee engagement. And just being in the union and everything, I know that we were plumbers and pipe fitters were in the same local, but we also had sheet metal. I was at Brant, so we had electricians too. And whenever you're actually kind of learning all the different things, you understand how it all ties together and functions. So you're more likely to, oh man, now I see what you're trying to do. Let me get out of the way for a minute and let you in. And then, man, I'll come back in about 15 minutes. Let me go knock this other thing out real quick.
Yep.
And you learn to work together because you understand each other's trades. And that's huge, I think, for a lot of people.
No, it is, and a lot of people don't get that. At the end of the day, we think, well, I'm here to do the plumbing. Well, I understand it, but really at the end of the day, you're here to build a building. And the electrician's got to do his share or none of it works. The HVAC's guy's got to do his share. Everybody's got their things to do, so it does. But the improved collaboration is great because working together, man, number one, it makes it more fun at work. These guys become your friends, not your enemies. And the cost savings is amazing because you don't have an electrician coming through at night, drilling holes in your pipe or taking your hangers loose or something like that. So it can be a pain sometimes. I get that, but it is what it is. Jose GCMS says, I'm a third-year apprentice in new construction. Curious why starting plumbing, I guess. Is it too early to jump to it? No, it's not. I work at a company that provides schooling, but if I stay, I'll do service. Look, I love the service end of it. I've done new construction. I think to be a good, well-rounded plumber, electrician, or HVAC tech, you should do new construction in the beginning to understand what goes in and how it goes in. And then, man, getting into service is where, if you're going to open your own business, it's where you can really make good money. Lori McNeil in the house says, taking time away helps you do better and be better in all areas of life. So vital for optimal performance and overall health. Absolutely. The Vitas 125 says, hi, I'm 24, too old to go into the trades. No, not at all.
Not even close.
I've had apprentices twice your age getting into the trades. Visual Ramans has finally got a job as an HVAC service tech with a local company, heading to the office to do some paperwork. Good for you, man. Awesome. Congratulations. What is this and trading? The Trade Talks is the trades, construction trades, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and we in here talk about trades all the time.
Yeah. No stock trading here.
No stock trading. Well, but then again, Randy's investing in silver. I'm trying to roll $100,000 into silver and gold right now. So, we're always looking at good stuff. And right. Colton says the same thing. 24 is the perfect age to get into the trades.
That's it.
All right. Let me look at where we're at. 34. Man, we're right on pace. So now we roll into number 8. How to transfer your license between states, navigating reciprocity agreements. And really, I want to talk about Texas here because I love what they're doing. We need more plumbers in Texas. I mean, to be honest, we need more plumbers everywhere in the United States. Y'all know that. But Texas is really getting good about their reciprocity agreements with other states. Right now, we've got, I believe it's Louisiana, maybe Arkansas. I know some people have a license in Oklahoma and Texas. But I mean, guys, if you look at it, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, I truthfully think there should be a national MEP. And it should be a national MEP board, kind of like the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners. Well, the national MEP board, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. The reason being, if Texas built wall to wall and said, okay, there's no more construction in Texas. We're built, we're done. all these plumbers could go anywhere in the country and work then if they had a national certification. Now, the union's kind of like that, especially as a pipe fitter or welder.
Yeah.
You've got your certs. If you pass your welding cert in Austin, Texas, guess what? It's good in Washington State. And if Washington State is looking for welders, now you may have to get up there and recert just to show them, look, I know what I'm doing. But to be able to just go there, take a test and say, yeah, there, look, I showed you I know how to weld. Now let me go weld. It can be a game changer.
It can. Most of the time, definitely as a welder, most jobs, you are going to have to do a test. They include your day to go into the shop, do your test.
And include your day means you get paid for a day.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, it is paid. I don't think I've had any that I wasn't paid for. I'm pretty sure. But it is. It's huge. And just the ease of it, because like I've still got my certs. I could try to go do it. Like I don't care for welding much personally, but it's good because as a pipe fitter, I don't have to have a license just to go in and fit pipe. I don't. Anywhere. So I can go travel all across the country. Pipe's pipe. Plumbing, the rules change a little bit from state to state, but
it's not the rules, the code. The code's different. We
correct,
all
the
build it
code.
by different codes. And each city can have its own addendums to the code. So it can be crazy.
it can because yes, reading through some of y'all's stuff with all the AHJs and it's how hard that is sometimes to figure out. It's a lot, but it kind of works the same everywhere. So I don't see why plumbers wouldn't be able to get a license that should be good everywhere, even though they're going to have to update. But y'all do that every year anyway.
We take continuing ed in Texas every year.
Okay.
And imagine this, if you had a national continuing ed, it'd be like, oh, did you know that in New York, the water line is buried at 48 inches deep, and in Texas, it's buried at 12 inches deep? Why? Well, the frost line's completely different. So things like that are great to know. But in understanding the reciprocity agreement, it says many states have agreements recognizing licenses from other states. Check if your state has reciprocity agreements through organizations like the National Association of State Licensing Agencies. And then meet state-specific requirements. Says even with reciprocity, you might need to fulfill certain conditions, such as additional exams or continuing education credits. And Texas does require that. But what I want you to think about, too, is each state tests to a different level. Some states don't even require a plumbing license, which I think is a freaking joke. But you've literally got to be able to understand that state, the laws, and why it is what it is. If Texas is one of the hardest states to get a license in, why would they have reciprocity agreements with states that don't even require a license? Because then somebody say, oh, well, I'm a plumber in BFE and we don't have a license, but I want to be a plumber in Texas. Now, oh, yeah, you done plumbing? You're a plumber here. Come on in. That's why we don't do that. It makes it kind of tough. But make sure you've got all your documentation prepared. Contact the state that you want to move to and say, hey, find out who the AHJ is, the authority having jurisdiction. Find out what requirements they're going to take. I have people reach out to me all the time because of what I do from around the world saying, hey, look, I want to move to the United States and become a plumber. Or are you already a plumber? Yeah, I'm already a plumber. Great. What have you been doing? Where have you been working? What kind of licensing do you have? What kind of testing is required? And then I ask them, what state do you want to move to? Because it's going to be different in each state. So Texas and Louisiana have agreements for a plumbing license. Florida allows a simplified certification for certain out-of-state electricians. Guys, Texas wants you here. We make it easy to get your license in Texas if you've got a license somewhere else. It really is. It's a good deal. Let's go ahead and talk about effective employee management.
Oh, and growing teams.
Yeah, which is big.
You know, like I had guys, I had welders working for me at times. They would quit on other jobs because they were working for different guys, and they're like, Henry, he's not a boss like you are. You're real. You want us to succeed. This guy don't care where I'm at, what I do. He just doesn't care. I'm not going to work on a job like that. So each person's management style is a little different, and you're going to attract different people. Now, the welder I'm specifically talking about, jam up.
Yeah.
He was a pipeline welder, disappears all the time. He'll keep his hood down from start to finish all day long, no problem. Worked 14-hour shutdown, and I kept his hood down probably 12 hours out of the day. No problem. But with other guys without the same management style that were actually trying to help and feed into the job more instead of just making sure people are working and y'all just do your stuff. Okay, bye. But I would actually help the guys do the job. I would show them the tricks I learned in my trade. And I was a young boss. So a lot of those guys were like, "Hey, who are you?" But then I remember the 62-year-old man, amazing fitter on a job. I pulled an old plumbing trick out from like doing rough in and top out layouts. And we had to cut this funky shape plate of metal to cover this hole. And I showed him how to do it, just like we pulled chains back in the day off of a couple corners, and I laid it all out. And they're all like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Just cut it. Get the torch. Come on. Why are y'all questioning this? Hurry up. Let's get this done and good." Finally, I fired up the torch, and they're like, "Okay, here, let's just cut it." They cut it. They popped it down, and it dropped right into place. And that old man goes, "Now, kid, you taught me something today." And I'm like, "Man, I am glad that I could do that for you."
And I tell you what, and I love that being a manager, getting in the field. I was doing a job out at Love Field in the mechanical room, and we were running like some 24 or 30-inch pipe, and we had a saddle built that we could lay pipe on, so we could take a scissor lift, a SkyTrack, not scissor lift, SkyTrack, pick it up, lift it up to where it goes, tilt it, balance it, whatever, and put this piece of pipe up. At least get it up there where they can tack it and get hangers on it. Well, we were trying to hang a piece with a 90 one day, and they could not figure out how we're going to do this. So literally, I got to looking at it, and we set it on that saddle and strapped it in right at the corner. And I got on the SkyTrack, I went and picked it up, backed up, raised it up, got my booms up, and I'm shifting and tilting right, tilting left, leaning forward, and all this. And all of a sudden, boom, he said, "Stop." And I stopped. He said, "It's right where it goes. Do not move." And literally, they tacked it. They got hangers on it and all that. And he asked me, he said, "How did you do that?" I said, "I have no idea. But I just saw if we can get this in here and strapped, why can't we move it around just like we do a normal piece of pipe? This side needs to come up or down or move right or left. This side needs to do the same thing." But you do things like that. You want to grow your teams. You have to set goals, clear expectations. What do you expect from your people? If it's a welder, you're a welder. Do you have your hood down 2 hours a day or 6 hours a day? Yep. Well, I really like about 4 hours a day. Okay, then what else do you do? And if they're like, "Well, I don't do anything else, I just wait." Yeah, you're not my welder. Yep. Provide continuous training. I love working for companies that train their people. You train them and they get better. Because if not, you don't train them, they'll stay with you forever. I want them to get better. Next, foster open communication. They can always come up and say, "Hey, man, look, I got an idea." I love that. I remember when I first got in the union, one of the guys that got me in the union, I asked him, I said, "Can you give me some advice?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, what is it?" He said, "Always listen to your apprentices." He said, "Roger, they're in school learning things that me and you hadn't even thought of yet." He said, "So always ask them, how would you do it? They may know, they may not know, but they may come up with a way that you haven't done yet." Recognize and reward performance. Talking yesterday about how to win friends and influence people.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Recognize people that are doing things good. It really is big. Utilize technology for efficiency. We're studying AI and how can we use it to do a lot of the stuff that we're doing. And then encourage team building.
Yep.
I love it when we all go to lunch and just sit around and talk. We may drink a margarita every now and then or something, but it's just part of what we do.
We don't have a job site to go to, though.
We don't. We're actually working very, very, very safe.
Yeah, and like one of the things you're saying about the team building is asking that apprentice what their thought is. Guys, try to put yourself back into your apprentice days if you're way past that, to your journeyman looking at you and going, "Hey, how do you want to do this?" Do you know how big that makes your apprentice feel? Just that you asked him, even if you don't go with his idea, it's fine. Explain to him why. I always try to take the opportunity, every opportunity, to teach when you can, because it's important and it helps build that team even more.
Next, we're going to talk about best fleet management practices for small businesses. And this is for saving time and money. And of course, the first one is GPS tracking. And when we got our new vans, actually right before we got the new ones, we had the old vans. and we were doing GPS tracking. And GPS tracking is huge because it lets you know, where your guys are. Are they driving safely? This can help protect your company. Monitors vehicles for location to improve route efficiency and reduce your fuel cost. If you've got a guy that's going home between every job, this will show up pretty quick.
Yep.
Or if they're out in the evening, midnight working with your van, that'll show up pretty quick too.
Or if they're taking the long route from A to B because you happen to pay drive time, this is going to let you know.
It'll also help you schedule your regular maintenance. Look, taking care of your vehicles is huge. And I remember when I worked at a different mechanical contractor, we literally had to have a vehicle sheet filled out every Friday, meaning you came in, you documented your mileage. Did you do an oil change? How many miles were left on the oil change? Is it clean? Is it washed? A lot of things like that, because you'd be surprised if you don't monitor it, it doesn't happen. If you don't keep an eye on it, nobody thinks, hey, I need to change the oil in my van, unless you tell them, hey, look, is it time? And stuff like that is big. But it does help you optimize your routes too, and it sets your driver safety standards. We used to get notifications on the vehicles that I drove if I sped. If I sped, it'd say, hey, Roger's driving 10 miles over the speed limit. And I'd get those notifications.
Yep. They put one on my truck, and I just kind of gave up the truck.
Yeah, it's
I drive fast.
Thank you.
I can't.
Yeah. And one of the big things for companies, and I really want to go into this because when I first started my company, I could not afford new vehicles. And I had to make a decision. Do I lease vehicles or do I buy older used vehicles? Now, Uncle Grant had some that he wasn't using anymore.
Yep.
So I said, you know what? I'd like to buy these from you. So I did. I bought 2 vans. I only needed one.
Okay.
But he made me a good deal. He says, look, if you buy both of them, I'll let you have them at this price. And you don't even have to pay me right now. You know, just before the end of the year, pay me. I'm going to go ahead and sign the title over to you. That way you get them on your books. You're paying insurance. You're doing everything. Just pay me before the end of the year.
Yep.
And it worked out really, really good. But when you get old vehicles, you get old problems. And you get a van that won't start one day. You get a van that starts shaking or shimmying or something like that. And it's like, man, what are we going to do to fix this? Yeah. So you've literally got to understand that it's an investment no matter how you go. But believe it or not, you can lease vehicles pretty cheap these days.
You can. You know, more modern world becomes more modern options. And leasing is becoming huge. Like, I came from the trades. If you can't pay for it, don't get it. That's how all the old guys told me. But the more I'm learning and stepping into the business world, and stuff, guess what? That's not always the right mentality. Sometimes leasing, things like that, can be a great option, especially starting out in the building. Because you don't want to just start out with old thing because, hey, you invest in that van and next week, it needs a motor. It can happen. So try to protect yourself and think everything all the way through and look at our new options because everything's advancing more. So more options are becoming available nowadays.
Yeah, and you talk about that about needing a new motor, and you're right. That can happen very easily. Luckily, I knew who I was buying them from.
Correct.
And I know, look, and he's like, dude, I've got the oil changes. I can give you everything on every van because he documents it that well. The good thing about it, though, is they lasted a while. I was able to use these for a couple of years. That helped me put up money to buy other vans, other trucks, whatever I needed. But when it came time to look at upgrading from those as we started growing, we decided, look, it's time. It's time to do this different. What we did is we leased vehicles. Now, when I leased them, I leased the biggest, the tallest, the longest, the nicest. We went through and picked all the weather guard racks and shelving and everything that we want. We put all the Milwaukee pack out stuff in there.
Yeah.
We put stuff in there that we knew, hey, this is going to be a van that any plumber in town would love to work in. And you've got to think about that because it's not just you. It's not just the way you're seeing. It's the way your employees feel about driving that van. So we bought them the nicest vans. They were stocked well. They were wrapped. They looked like the most professional van in town.
Yep.
and they drove great. The guys got to take them home. So it was really, it was nice. And they loved it because it put them in a wonderful spot.
Sure did.
Social media.
Social
and we're
media.
talking plumbers today.
And
I'm going
it's
to leave the room.
Friday.
I'm gonna
So we're
leave.
talking plumbers. So, people that have been making some good changes, big influencers in the plumbing area. You've got the OG Roger Wakefield, of course.
Man, come on.
And we're always making big changes around here, obviously, our new show and everything. And we're always striving for more, guys, because we want to help each and every one of you out there.
So we got Evan Burns. Evan Burns is operating under the Instagram handle of Replumb. Now, Evan's amassed over 383,000 followers by sharing his plumbing experiences and insights. His content resonates with both professionals and DIY enthusiasts.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
John Thompson. He's the co-founder of Plumb God Media. John shares truthful and insightful stories from his plumbing experiences on Instagram. His engaging storytelling has made him a notable figure in the plumbing community.
Then you got Michael Flynn, Flintstone. Brother, what's up? Known on Instagram as Flintstone1, Michael shares daily posts of HVAC and boiler installations. I know it's HVAC, but trust me, he's a good guy. Along with tools of the trade, content provides valuable insights into plumbing and HVAC industries. Good stuff.
For sure. And you've got Danny operating under the Instagram handle Mechanically Inclined. Danny is known for his engaging content related to plumbing, electrical, and handyman services. With over 513,000 followers, he provides insights and tips across multiple trades.
And look, there's many, many more. I love going to the shows. Dennis the Apprentice, great guy, doing good things, trying to help recruit people into the trades. You've got Omar the plumber. Look, Omar, man, out of Miami, great guy. When people call me from around the country, and I want y'all to think about this. When people call me from around the country, these are the people that I think of, the people that I see, the people that I know from the shows. Plumbing Skater, you've got the Poor Pumper Society.
Yep.
There's so many people out there doing good things, and they're doing it on social media. And any of y'all that have a company, I want y'all to think about this. If you're not doing social media, you're losing out, because look at the amount of followers that some of these people have. You got Danny's got 513,000. I'm over 600,000. Who's this? Evan Byrne, 380,000. Guys, the opportunity's there, and people are looking for information. They're looking for value. They're looking for knowledge. What if you're the one giving it to them? What if you're the one that they connect with? Look, everybody doesn't like me. I get that. There's a lot of plumbing YouTube channels. A lot of these are on Instagram and stuff. But find somebody that you like. It may not be me. I'm good with that. Find somebody you like that you connect with. We all teach in different ways. I'm old school. I'm the grumpy old guy that when Randy's walking a job, he said, that's the one I want to work for, because that old guy, because they're like, nobody wants to work with him. He's a pain.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know what? He's going to teach me the right way to do things. And I used to be the same way. I wanted to work with the old guys because they knew what they were talking about. So take it from me, an old guy. Start doing social media. Put your information out there. I want each one of y'all that are thinking about opening your own business, how many people that you're connected with on Facebook or Instagram or things like that even know that you're a plumber? Because a lot of them don't. Guys, it's great stuff. Ironworker, Jamie McMillan out of Canada, a female ironworker boilermaker, and doing great things on social media. So think about it, look at it, and figure out how do you get in there and do it right and do it better than anybody else. Look, y'all can all do better than me, I promise. It's not hard.
Yep.
We get into a routine. There's a way to do it better than I'm doing it, and you really can. I'm going to jump into the today's comments again real quick. How are you thinking about European construction? Go work in the U.S.? Look, water flows downhill. And if you pressurize it, you can pump it up to whatever floor you need it to. So it doesn't matter where we're at. we can come in and learn the other way of doing it. So I would love to get to travel Europe and Germany and France and just everywhere around the country, Italy, and see how they do plumbing, watch how they build. I did every time I go to Mexico, it blows my mind watching them build because it's not like we do it up here.
Nope.
Completely different, but it's neat. Mason L. Ahern says, I prefer rolling slow and safe. Nothing wrong with that, brother. My friend might sell his real nice van, so let me know if someone wants it. There you go. And guys, remember, if you've got any questions you would like answered for tomorrow, put them in here, leave them in the comments, do some things like that. I believe that you've got some questions from yesterday.
I do. What's the best online resource for finding state license requirements?
First of all, find out who the AHJ is in that state. So in Texas, if it's plumbing, it's the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners. If it's electrical or HVAC, it's TDLR, the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. You can reach out to them and say, hey, what's required for me to get my license in your state? And call and talk to them, find out, because that's where you're going to get the most accurate information. Also, go to their websites. They've both got websites where you can get great information at.
Yeah, and that's good for the Texas world. Also, you've got the National Associations of State Licensing Agencies. That'll cover anywhere in the country. You can get on there and go to each individual state based on your trade to find out what's needed.
I love it.
Another question is, can green building techniques apply to small-scale home renovations?
You know, they can, especially when it comes to air quality, electrical, water. Water's great because with WaterSense, look, always install ultra-high efficiency. How much water flow can you save in a house? How much more efficient of a water heater, an air conditioner, different things like that can you put in? Do you have an opportunity to use solar, wind, anything at all like that? Well, you got
reclaimed wood, anything
Absolutely.
like that. Like we recycle more and more nowadays. Try to use some of those recycled products that they've remanufactured into a usable thing for your home. Because guys, they're getting better and they're looking way better than they used to. Because it used to just be one color and that's all they could do. Now there's so many options that we can do.
good stuff.
How can I ensure my fleet vehicles comply with emission standards?
You know, here in Texas, again, this is where I'm at. You can carry them down. Now, they just changed the laws.
I was going to say.
We don't have to have inspection sticker to get a license plate anymore. We used to have to every year. But you can still carry them down and ask them to run an emissions test. You want to do everything you can to make the world a better place. And think about it. If you're doing it when nobody else is, put it on your website. Hey, guys, just want to let y'all know, our vehicles, we test for emissions each and every year because we understand the ozone layer, and we don't want to be bad contributors to it. So there's a lot of good things that you can do, and always look at it like that. What do you got?
I really like that. Routine maintenance is one of the biggest things. If your plumbers or any of your guys are driving something and it starts making a weird noise, take it to the shop and get it fixed, get it checked out, see what's wrong with it. Staying on top of your vehicle maintenance is huge on keeping up with emissions and things like that.
All right. What you got next?
How can tradespeople position themselves as leaders in sustainable construction practices?
Sustainable is lead AP. It is what it is. You don't have to go all in, become a lead AP like I did. Now you can become green building certified. Guys, it's a great start. You get in, you start learning about how to do a better job.
That's good. Oh, I love it. One more. What are the long-term benefits and challenges of cross-training employees in a multi-trade business?
You know, the benefits are you can send someone out, and while they're there, if I'm a plumber but I'm cross-training HVAC, I can look at the HVAC system and say, hey, look, while I was up there, you know, looking at the gas line or whatever, or looking at the water heater, I opened up your HVAC system and it really needs to be cleaned. I don't know how long it's been since you've had it done, but that's going to make it a lot more efficient. You can look at the panel and say, hey, I noticed that you've got an old aluminum wiring. You understand that's dangerous. There's a lot of things just by cross-training you can look at and figure out. So I think it's amazing the fact that you can cross-train people these days and learn and do stuff like that. Everybody on TikTok, Instagram, hope y'all are doing good. We're getting ready to shut down here. But guys, this has been fun, as always. We love jumping in here and doing this, and we owe it all to y'all. Again, a special shout out to Leak Pro. Leak Pro helps us do what we do, and it makes it to where we can show up here every day and hang out with y'all and have fun.
That's it. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope everybody has a wonderful, safe weekend and enjoy it. It's the first one of 2025.
And Colton, I'm going to let you shut it down. Guys, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.